So as Vanessa said, my name is Glomery. I am a native New Yorker, born in Harlem and raised in the South Bronx. I've always had a passion for traveling. Since a child, I used to go in the summertime back to Dominican Republic. And then like in high school, I've done a lot of like different trips abroad. So my biggest, furthest trip was when I went to Thailand. So I've always had an affinity for travel. And when I was in my senior year, in Binghamton University, my second semester senior year, I was like kind of over it and I wanted like a change, but I still had some credits. And I was a Latin American Caribbean Studies major. So I decided why not go to Brazil because in Latin America, so it aligns with my major and it's, they speak Portuguese. So it's a language that I could pick up. So something was going to be something new for me because I'm already a native Spanish speaker. So my mom had told me at the time, Binghamton wasn't offering study abroad. So I went through Newport since it's all the same SUNY system. And then I didn't really get a chance to take any like Portuguese language courses. But my mom was like, you should try some, online so that you don't go cold. But, young and you don't really listen to your parents. I was like, no, I can wing it. It sounds pretty much like Spanish. Um, it's similar. It's similar, but I should have listened and taken, maybe some online courses because definitely it was a struggle when I first got there. I did a homestay. So I did like 5 to 6 months, and I had a host mom. I lived in Leblon, which is the Zona Sur, that's what they call it. So it's like near like Ipanema and Copacabana. So I was like literally like down that strip, like a block away.
Wow.
I took courses at PUCI. It's the university there, that's what they call it. And I took some Brazilian history classes, and I also took some Portuguese courses, language courses. And when I was there, it was a lot of foreigners. So because I didn't know anyone from my school, I was like the only one. I was like very keen on going, so I went through a different school. So everyone that was there were a lot of my cohort had a lot of like Europeans, a lot of like German people from Amsterdam, Dutch. So it was very diverse, very mixed. Um, and I would say I lived in more of like the higher class because I did realize that there's a lot of colorism, racism, classism in Brazil, which was something that I was kind of shocked because this depiction that I always got of Brazil was that, it was so beautiful and diverse and, it's like, you never really get to see that it's like, oh no, actually the lighter, whiter people live here, the darker people live in the favelas. So that was a shock for me. And it kind of was a shock for my host mom too, because I guess her idea of Americans were all like blondes and blue eyes. They have their misconceptions of us and we have their misconceptions of them. So yeah, so that was that. And I said I was going to highlight one of my most memorable moments, which was definitely hiking Pedra da Gavea, and that was actually after I had completed my semester there. I was dating someone, so I dated this person long distance, and when I went back to Brazil after my study abroad program several times, and we actually got to do this hike, and I really wasn't prepared to know how extreme this hike was. I was just like following the hype of all the study abroad students who were always saying like, oh, we're doing the hike, we did the hike. So I was like, oh man, I never got a chance to do it. So I was like, I really want to do it. So when I went back, I did it with a group of his friends. And we started off like at 3:00 in the morning.
What's the name of the place?
It's called Pedra da Gavea.
Pedra da Gavea.
Yes. I don't know why this is like recording.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's called. And it's like one of the tallest mountains. So again, I didn't do my thorough research to know what I was getting into, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because had I known, I don't think I really would have done it. But after I got to the top, I was like, really happy that I actually did it. But I really realized like you have to have some like experience with hiking, kind of like more fit, because it is one of like the most difficult hikes that I've like ever done. And it's like a difficult hike period, but it's definitely worth it. You get to see like the whole Rio from up high. Got to see the Christ, the Cristo Redentor, which I think is one of the seven wonders of the world, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah, and I also did two carnivals, which is that is like a spectacular within itself. They have this thing called Sambodrum, where people go. So different samba schools. So people train throughout the year, and they have different samba schools, and people go and parade basically, and they show out with the whole elaborate costumes, and then they compete to see like which school won. And that's definitely like if you're ever gonna do carnival, that's definitely a must see and a must do. And then they have this thing called blocos, so that's like on the street. So the Sambodrum is a specific location and a specific event that happens, but the blocos are like block parties, and that's like during Carnival week. So like say different blocos, so it's like floats, kind of like the parades that we have here, like the Dominican parade or the Puerto Rican parade that we have in New York City. So people come out with like different floats, and people dress up, and they put like all this fantasy costumes on, and it's incredible. Like it's a non-stop party. Like those 2 weeks, you don't get any sleep if you're really trying to go that hard. I mean, like I'm glad I did that in my early 20s. Now I don't really think that I would have the energy for that.
And you did both you did both of them in Rio, or did you go to other cities?
No, yeah, I did both of them in Rio. I did, but you should check out different states, because they're different. When I was studying abroad, I did get to go to Minas Gerais. I went to São Paulo, and I also went to Arembepe, which is in Bahia. And I don't know if a lot of people know, but Brazil is as big in size as the United States, so it's huge. I was a student back then, so had I planned more effectively, maybe saved, I could have maybe seen more. But again, it's really big. Every state has its own flavor and kind of feel. I would say like Bahia for me felt more like New Orleans. Rio to me is like a combination of like California and Florida, like Miami, and Sao Paulo is definitely like a New York City. Like it's a nonstop, humongous city. And yeah, I took public transportation. I know a lot of people I guess for us as Americans, we have this like fear sometimes, because that's what they say about like how dangerous it can be, and the favelas. I myself, when I was a student and when I went back, I visited a couple of different favelas, and to me, like as a native New Yorker, it's like you just have to take the precautions that you would take in any place, right? So like if you already know that you're gonna kind of stand out because you don't look like you're from there, then don't carry your cell phone, like out in the public, or a camera, like when people can just snatch it, because that's something that can happen. And it did happen to some of the study abroad students that went with me. But I didn't, thank God, and I went back like 3 times. I never had any issues. I love Brazil. I think Brazil, it's a beautiful place. It's rich in culture. It's, people are very friendly. Again, just take precaution like you would anywhere. There's this place called Lapa, which is in Rio, which is also really awesome. There, it's more like a hipster kind of vibe, artsy kind of vibe. Those are where those famous stairs are at. Yeah, and again, that's an area where you have to take caution, like precaution, like like just don't carry things that are gonna cause people to like look your way and alarm others to pay attention to you. But other than that, I definitely would recommend it. Whether it's a couple, whether it's a group of friends, whether you want to do carnival. I also got to experience New Year's there and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Brazilians, they love parties. So like Christmas time, it was a big celebration. There's like events on the beach, Copacabana Beach. I got to see Stevie Wonder and Georgie Bain. Yeah, when I went in 2012. And also the New Year's there is awesome. Like we got to go to they do like offerings to this deity, African deity called Yemanya, and everyone wears white and they bring offerings to Yemanya, and that happens
Wow.
during the New Year. Yeah, and that was really beautiful. Another of my highlights and most memorable moments. So yeah, so it's a great time to go. There are summer, though I want to highlight our summer is their winter.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't get like cold how we get our cold, but it does get chilly. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say their summer months are like our winter. So like February, that's when Carnival happens. It's a great time to go. December.
So when it's summer, what do you wear? Like
A
how cold
sweat,
it is?
like a sweater, a light jacket.
Okay.
It gets chilly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have a
Mhm.
couple of questions.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how long did it take to hike the place that you went? What is it?
Pedra da Gavea.
Pedra da Gavea, yes.
So we started at 3 in the morning and we got all the way to the top. I want to say like at 6 a.m. So 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
They're
Okay.
like climbing like ropes. I had to go up ropes. There's no really supervision, so it's up to you and not to alarm anyone, but just to know, like to let others know the severity of like how cautious and how prepared you should be. Like people have died because they haven't, been prepared. So it's something that you just have to take, some precautions and know what you're getting yourself into,
Mhm.
because it can.
Yes. Someone asked, is Rio worth it? Or which city would you recommend for more of a beach vacation?
Oh, definitely Rio. Like Rio is a great time. I would say if you're a party person or you want to experience Carnival and that whole event, definitely go and hit up Carnival, um, because that's definitely like a memorable experience, like a great experience to have. I don't know if you some people get really into it and get into the costumes and all of that. So if you're one of those, then you can do that as well. Um, and I will also say like December to like, the holidays, the good time to go. You want to go with a group of friends, you want to go alone. I think it's safe enough to go by yourself. I mean, I went by myself as a student, a young woman. And like I said, just take, the adequate precautions and you should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Nat is asking, is Carnival like the New York City Halloween parade, where you just hop in the sidelines and walk?
Oh,
Hop
no,
in the sidelines.
no, no. It's, it's more intense than the Halloween parade, because you're out in the middle and the blocos, which are like the floats, they're walking around, but there's not like those tight ropes where people can't go certain areas. It's like a kind of like a free for all. So that's one thing I would say about it. Which it can be overwhelming if you're not used,
Mhm.
you know.
Yes.
People are drunk, people are drinking. It's a big party, There aren't as many regulations as we have here in the United States.
Mhm.
So that's something that I would definitely say. But like I said, just be safe, just be careful, and you should be fine. But it's something that I would definitely recommend experiencing at least
Mhm.
once.
What's the prettiest beach that you experienced?
There I stayed. I was like I said, I was down the block from that whole strip that everyone knows. So you know when you see those like mountains, that's the Pedra da Gavea. That's the mountain that I climbed, and then the strip, that's definitely where I was living. So I was living like right there in the center of everything. So those are beautiful beaches. They're usually very populated. A lot of people always go there. Um, but it's like, it's like Copacabana, Ipanema, Leblon. They're different communities and neighborhoods, but it's like, that whole strip divides it, but it's that whole same strip for all three. So in Panama, post 9, because it's by numbers. That's where a lot of young folks go party, hang out.
Post
And then
9.
I didn't talk too much about food. The food, to me, if you've ever experienced or tasted Brazilian cuisine, Dominican cuisine, it's kind of similar, not as flavorful, I would say. Maybe I'm biased, but it's not as flavorful as Dominican food. But they do the same kind of stuff, like rice, beans, chicken. Definitely in Minas Gerais, they do put more seasoning in their food. But from my experience, they it's kind of more bland than I would say like Dominican food.
Yes.
And they
So,
love black beans.
oh, I
Like
love black beans too. Someone asked, is Carnival too touristy or dangerous, like Mardi Gras?
yeah, I would say it's like down the lines with Mardi Gras. I would definitely say that. And I would definitely say that it can be dangerous because people, are drinking and can be drunk. Kind of, I don't want to generalize, but from my experience, it's like a very kind of can be a very kind of like a sexual culture, and especially during carnival, right? Because women are kind of in revealing clothing, and it's a beach culture, so people are always dressed in like bikinis and etc. So you just have to,
You
especially if
have
you're a
to be
woman.
comfortable with that.
Yes, yes. Because from my experience, I would be walking, men would grab me. It would be like it could get like that.
Really?
So I would just have to be like, yeah, chill out. But you know,
Wow.
yeah.
What do you recommend for accommodations in Rio? Hotels or other type of establishments?
So I would definitely say that it depends on your budget. So I feel like if you want to experience like the touristy feel, be in the center, and you want to go to Rio, I would definitely say hit up like Copacabana, Ipanema, or Leblon. If you are more like strict with your budget and don't mind like roughing it out, I would advise a hostel. Like if you're young and you're just need to, but you still want to have a good time, you could do it. I went to Mexico and I stayed in a hostel. It's not the best, but I wasn't there at all. Like I just went to sleep and it was fine. So I think it depends, on your budget and what you're comfortable.
Yes, I tried booking a whole house for Carnival, and I had already made the reservations, and the owner canceled the reservations and say, "Oh, I forgot to post the price of Carnival," and raised it to 3 times the price.
Yeah.
I was, yeah. So I had
Yeah.
to, I couldn't afford it at that price that he was.
So, yeah, so I would say that, or even trying like an Airbnb or renting out, maybe like renting out an apartment for a couple of days with a couple of friends or a group. Just because everything does go up during carnival. Like everything does get really expensive and
Yeah.
pricey during
Yes.
that time. Even I feel like maybe if you book in way ahead of time, but even then, it's like the peak season for them.
Yes. Is the cost of food and drinks also as pricey as New York City, or what do you think?
Oh yeah. And imagine, I studied abroad almost 10 years ago, and the dollar and the real were like the same. I was in a very like touristy area, right? But for my room, I was paying like almost not like almost like $800 back then, like 2011. So it's like very similar prices to New York City. Very, very similar. So you just have to, just know that you gotta just budget, right? So like if you get a place with a group of friends or a group, then buy some groceries and cook in the apartment or go out just at night. but definitely you have the budget because like it's New York because it is as
Mm-hmm.
expensive.
Mm-hmm. So you said in the winter time in February you need a jacket at least. But what
Yeah,
about in the hot season in the summer? Like how hot does it get?
it gets pretty high. I would say like high 90s, high 80s. And I wouldn't say that it was like humid. I think it was like more like dry. It was dry, like dry heat.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't feel that overwhelmed, to be honest, because sometimes the heat can be a little overwhelming if it's really wet, you know?
Yes. Someone asked, how aggressive are the men there, or are they only aggressive during carnival?
I felt like it was from my experience and also where I was staying, they were only that aggressive during carnival.
Okay.
It wasn't really that bad, in other times when I was there, other months. But because of like the environment, that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're with friends and stuff and with a group, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be fine.
Is it like good to be able to drive there, or do you prefer someone takes public transportation or hires a driver if I want to move around?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, I think it's fine if you want to drive. It's safe. I mean, anywhere, right? Like Caribbean, Latin America, it can be. The rules aren't as strict as they are here, but if you're a good driver and you feel comfortable, I think that you should be able to be fine. Me, I'm not driving is not really for me, but I don't blame anyone if they feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable
Yes.
doing that. Yeah, renting a car could be more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they also have this place that I always wanted to go that I never got a chance to go. It's called Falls de Iguazu, and those
Uh-huh.
falls you can see from Argentina, and I forget if it's like Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay or another country, but it's like all three of those countries meet at those
Mhm.
at those falls.
Yes.
That's a that's a beautiful place to go. A lot of the students when I was studying abroad went. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go, but that's definitely if you get a chance to, that's definitely a place to check out. It's really beautiful.
Yes. What are other places that you recommend?
Other places, I would recommend if you want to hit up like a big city, I definitely would check out Sao Paulo, just to get a different feel, right? If you're able to be there for a long time, I would definitely recommend hitting up Bahia because it's just culturally so different, and I feel like in Bahia they're more like African descent Brazilians there, so you
Mm-hmm.
get a different cultural sense there, and I loved it. So I definitely would check it out. Like I said, like Brazil is so big that I think like for you to check out a whole bunch of different states, you have to like go a couple of times or with a lot of time to just be
Mm-hmm.
able to travel over. Because like I said, it's as big as the US. So
Yes. Mm-hmm. Someone is asking, what is the process with in terms of immigration? Do you need a visa, and how long do you need to get it in advance?
that's a
Do you
great
know?
question. Yes, you definitely need a visa. Um, it's not as difficult for us because we're American, so we're privileged in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would advise getting it just to be on the safe side a couple of months prior to buying your ticket. But
Mm-hmm.
you definitely do need it, and it's like I think it's like 100 bucks.
I remember they lifted the restrictions when they have the games,
Okay.
and then they brought it back again, and then they said that they're gonna take it out again. So it
Okay.
changes every so often.
Right. So you should just like check on, the websites,
Mm-hmm.
check what the new status, immigration laws or regulations are.
Did they ask you to get the yellow fever shot when you went?
Um, I think that maybe because of the university,
Mm-hmm.
that had some requirements of some immunization vaccines that I had to take, but I don't remember, to be honest, if I had specifically the yellow fever.
Mm-hmm. I know Flavia shared with us yesterday that if you go from Colombia to Panama, you don't need any vaccinations. But if you went from Panama to Colombia, you needed the yellow fever shot. So I
Okay.
guess it depends from where you're coming.
Right, exactly. Yes, definitely.
Yes. So
Definitely. But again, like I would highly recommend it. Samba, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's, you know, it's beautiful. The way that they play the music, the people dancing, there's different styles. Um, there's a little bit of everything in Brazil. You know, that's one thing that I really like, that you can be any type of person and you can find your group, you can find your clique, you can find the things that you're into there. You don't have to feel like necessarily you have to acclimate to them, because they are everything, right? So whatever you're into, you can, you know, figure out, check out. Now that, you know, we have social media, definitely can find your niche there easily.
mhm.
And for me, it was a struggle in the beginning learning Portuguese, but after some time and with practice, because again, I said I was dating someone there, I got to learn it. And it is similar to Spanish, but they have a lot of different, obviously, like intonations, and the grammar is very like difficult. But I would say that if you're a Spanish speaking person and you are interested in picking up a second or third language, I think having Spanish as your foundation definitely helps with Portuguese.
Mhm. Someone said, teach us something in Portuguese.
Okay, what do you want me to say? I can say hello, my name is, so I can say hi, so oi, tudo
Uh-huh.
bem? So it's hi, how are you? Everything's okay. Meu nome é Glomery.
You
Eu
know
moro,
me.
yeah. So it's like a lot of intonation that I had to just like familiarize my ear to it, you know,
Huh?
because I was coming with the Spanish mind, but it's
How do
like,
you
no,
say I don't speak Portuguese?
eu
Because
não falo,
that's probably the one thing you're gonna say the most.
yeah, eu não falo português.
Eu não falo português.
Sim. Eu
Okay.
falo espanhol, eu
Are you
falo.
are you guys learning?
Then you can say, I'm American, eu sou americana. Um, eu moro is I live in New York. Eu moro em Nova York.
Nueva
Um,
York. Oh,
mhm.
someone asked, what phrase saved your life in this trip?
In the strip.
In your trip there, when you lived there, what expression or what
Well, in the
phrase?
beginning, it was eu não falo português muito bem. So I would say I don't speak Portuguese very well. That really did save me, because like I said, I went with zero Portuguese.
And then from there, it was like sign language.
From there, I would get lost, and I would like, you know, I was taking classes, a lot of trial and error until I got it right. But yeah, you know, I think it's easier for Spanish speakers. Or I think even Latin, right? So any Latin derivative derived language that you speak, I think you can pick it up.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Someone is asking, ¿cómo se dice alcohol in Portuguese?
Bebida, eu quero beber, você tem álcool. Caipirinha, so that's their staple, the caipirinha.
Yeah.
They love caipirinha there. Like they make it anywhere on the streets.
Where
So
can we go to have the best caipirinha?
in my opinion, when I was there, I went a lot of those like local vendors. They actually they made the best. When I was in Lapa, like I said, is like that hipster spot. Santa Teresa is also really cool. It's really artsy. Um, they had like those little by Santa Teresa. They had those little like carts, that little train. But when I was there, like 2013, I think like it broke, or they had to like fix it up, or do some renovations. But that's definitely a place to check out, the Santa Teresa train or trolley.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, Rio is a beautiful city. Like just aesthetically, like it's really a gorgeous city.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Jardim Botânico is very beautiful. It's a very green city, a lot of water. It's a walkable city. They have trains, they have buses. Ubers. So it's like, it's like the Miami, it's like our Miami pretty much.
How many days would you recommend someone to visit if they have limited time and they want to go see Rio and another city? How many days should they allocate? Let's say they have 10 days vacation from Friday to Sunday or something.
Yeah, I think that if you want to do Rio, I would definitely say a week. Like if you want to do the touristy things, Pan de Azúcar, the Cristo Redentor, check out the different neighborhoods. I would definitely say a week so that you can experience it without feeling rushed. And if you want to check out another city, I will also say another week because Sao Paulo is huge. Like it is enormous. So I guess it depends. If you just wanna relax and you still wanna chill and just absorb it, you could do the whole 10 days in Rio because there is a lot to do. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of cultural things to do. Go dancing at night. Go to Lapa to go check out the stairs and chill and hang out and drink some caipirinhas on the street with friends. Go to the beach if you want to. Like I'm the kind of person that I'm not necessarily I don't enjoy the rushing. Like I know what I want to go see when I travel and I kind of plan my days around that. I know people that love itineraries and stuff. I'm not that type of traveler. But if you are like that, I would definitely say for Rio, a week should be okay. If you're like boom, boom, boom on a schedule, definitely a week. It should be more than enough time. But if you want to check out different places, I'd say another weekend, or if you want to even divvy it up and divide it, right? So you could do a couple days in Sao Paulo and a couple days in Rio, or check out any maybe neighboring states that you're interested in checking out. Because like I said, it's huge. So getting from point A to point B, getting from Rio to Sao Paulo is a 6-hour bus ride. If you want to fly, cool. Then getting from Rio to like Bahia is like like a 2-hour plane ride. So that's what you also have to take into consideration.
Was capoeira apparent in the culture?
Capoeira was, but I would say that that's more on the Afro-Brazilian end of culture. So I wouldn't necessarily say like mainstream or main, Brazilian culture, but definitely is more of like a cultural Afro-Brazilian martial arts that was actually brought from like the African slaves. So yeah, definitely.
Did you participate in any of those?
Yeah, when I went to Bahia, I did.
Okay, someone just asked, so Bahia will be the place to go to this. So yes.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. And any samba schools that you recommend?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but you could easily Google that, and I would say probably the best are in Rio and Bahia.
Now, in order to participate in the actual events for Carnival, what are the steps in order to be part of it? Because it's not just arriving and just that's it. Like,
you have to be part of the school. So like I said, they train. These are people that train throughout the year. And they're different schools, so different classes, different schools. And then at the end, at the Samboja room, that's where they like perform and compete.
So if I want to be just to watch the event, what would I do?
When I went to the Samboja room to watch the event, you just get a ticket during Carnival.
Okay. And
it happens during Carnival.
Okay.
So like I said, if Carnival can also be, I don't want to scare anyone. Carnival can also be how you want it to be, If you want to enjoy it and just go watch the, different schools for the samba schools perform, you can definitely do that. If you want to, party like a rock star and participate in the, floats and the parade, you can definitely do that. So it all depends on, you and what you're up for.
Okay. And the tickets, how do I know that the website I'm getting it is reliable? Is there a specific website that I should trust?
You should just be able to Google it and make sure that it's like verifications or like double check with like TripAdvisor, stuff like that, just to cross check that you're getting the right school, the
Mhm.
right. That's a great question too. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many websites out there, but how do I know it's the real one?
Yeah, I would recommend TripAdvisor for stuff like that,
Yes.
to make sure that you're in the right track and not getting chipped.
Did you go clubbing there?
I did go clubbing there. Yeah, I did. I did go to a couple clubs in Copacabana. I was also like kind of like on my fearless tip because I was young and I was like, oh, I'm from New York, I'm from the Bronx. But I would say like again, like just take some caution, because it can get a little out of control, just like anywhere, right? So you just have to know what you're getting yourself into. Um, and some people I know, a lot of tourists love to go and adventure and see like the favelas and what that's about.
Mm-hmm.
And I would recommend it during the day and going with people because it doesn't really, it's kind of like, it can be kind of like confusing getting around because a lot of them are like on mountains and there aren't any, direct directions in or out. So just to know,
You
that
could get lost in there.
you're lost in there. Exactly. Exactly. But like I said, if you take precautions, it's not that bad. I went to a couple favelas. I went to Rocinha, which I believe is like the biggest favela in all of even Latin America. And it's huge in there. People like they have their own community. Like you don't need to come out for anything. Like they have restaurants there, they have supermarkets there, they have everything that they need right in there.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, guys, if you are in Instagram Live, make sure you write your questions at the question mark so we don't get lost in the feed. If you are in Zoom, you can unmute yourself and ask her questions. We're going to open it up to you all. What is there to experience in a favela?
What is it to experience? For me, I just really was curious and to see what it was about. I went to Rocinha, which I said is one of the biggest favelas, and I also went to Vigigal. And I also think it's, as a low income person coming from the South Bronx, I think that people have these depictions of these neighborhoods as being like so scary and so dangerous because that's all we hear in the news. But for me, it was important to like see other people that came from similar backgrounds as myself, right? Like I don't see myself as a dangerous and scary person. So I wanted to see what it was, because I know that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people I've came across in my life don't want to, maybe even come visit where I'm from because they have this, preconceived notion, but I'm a believer on like be cautious, but see for yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions, guys? Did you go to a football game? How big is football there? Because they always
It
compete and it's
No, it's huge there. I'm
soccer, but football en español.
football Americano, yeah. But I am not a soccer fan necessarily, but it is huge there. So if you are a soccer fan, you reach the right place because they take soccer very, very, very serious. Very serious there. Yeah, definitely. I know like Flamengo was my ex's team and it's like in Rio. I think Maracana is one of the big stadiums in Rio. Like I said, if you're a fan, like that's the destination for you.
Wow,
Yeah, I mean like they're one of the best soccer players in the world.
I know. It's crazy.
Okay.
Outside of Carnival, what is one thing you have to do in Brazil if you only had one shot to go?
Outside of Carnival, definitely I would say check out for the holidays. They have a lot of beautiful events. Like I said, the New Year's Eve event. And anytime that you go to Brazil, so it doesn't necessarily have to be carnival. Like I said, Brazilian culture is very festive, love to party. So if you just want to have a good time and just hit up the beach and enjoy beautiful scenery and food and people, you can go anytime. And you'll make your time. You'll make your adventure fun because that's just the place that Rio is.
Mm-hmm. What's the temperature in the water? Is it
Oh,
warm or is chilly?
I would say lukewarm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you try surfing?
Did I try surfing? No, I didn't. I didn't try it. But again, if you're a surfer, it's a destination for you too. They have the surfers beaches, and it's good. Good for that if you're into that.
Yes.
Like I said, I think that Rio and Brazil is, like I said, so big that it accommodates everyone, whatever you're into. If you're a hip hop fan, Sao Paulo's the place for you, It's huge for hip hop. Because I think, people think like Latin America, but there's everything, and every place, right? And like I said, Brazil is so big that it has something for everyone. Like you cannot feel left out there.
Yes. Any more questions, guys? She's here, ready to answer any questions we may have.
Any questions you guys have?
Hi, Carolina. Natmar has had so many good questions too. Thank you for that.
Hi, I don't really have a question. It's more of just like a thank you. And there's something you said earlier on in your video that I just kind of wanted to chime in on. It made me think about a book that I read when I was in undergrad, and I just wanted to share it because you talked about race relations in Brazil, and it's called, I don't know if y'all have heard of it, or maybe you've heard of it, Race in Another America by Dr. Telles.
Okay, I think I've heard of it.
Heard of it?
Yeah.
It talks exactly about what you were just talking about, race relations, and like, I'm a sociology major, so it just got my brain going. But Brazil has always been a place I want to travel to because of this book and that class that I took. And then hearing you talk right now reaffirms my desire to go.
No, yes, definitely. You should definitely.
I appreciate you, and I just wanted to share this book. And yeah, I don't know if you remember me. We met briefly in New York one night, bailando in what is it called? The High? Girl, I'm in San Diego, California. Like, I don't really go out to New York that often.
Oh yes, I remember you. Yes, we definitely talked about. Yeah. We're at Locksmith.
Yeah. And I saw you yesterday post something. You were like, "Oh, you should come through." And then I was like, "Well, I've always wanted to go to Brazil. I'll check it out." Like,
the small world.
Anyway, small world.
Yeah, because I think that that's something too that for me as I identify as an Afro-Latina, so I think that that's something that I always have issues with in Latin America because I didn't realize how like classist and racist it can be, and I think that that's something that as Latinos we don't really talk about, and that that even when I went to Mexico, they're Black Mexicans, and I was like, oh, I never knew that. Or in Chile and everywhere, and like everywhere in Latin America
too,
to the coast, and I feel like those are the population that we don't really talk about, we don't really see, and there's all like this just like one narrative, but there's not room for like the whole,
Yeah, the African diaspora that you touch on. Like, I'm Mexican, but I was fascinated learning about Veracruz and how there were also slave ships that were brought to Mexico, and Mexico doesn't talk about it.
Like that's what I'm saying.
So I get fascinated talking about these types of topics. It's important.
It is very important. I feel like that's why I feel like it's important for us to put ourselves in these spaces so that we can see and have these narratives and these conversations, these dialogues, because I think that those are the things that I definitely would say, like, traveling is a privilege, so I'm extremely privileged. Yes, I come from a low income, but I've always been so privileged to have a good education and to have the ability to travel. you know, because I think that we have to own our areas where we are privileged, you know, and that's definitely something that I've seen, and in different contexts how my identity plays out, you know, being an Afro-Latina and being in Brazil or going to Mexico and having braids and people coming up to me when I went to Teotihuacan in Mexico. Like, little girl came and she was like, "Oh my God," she had never seen braids, you know, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, like that's different, but okay," you know, and just understanding that, you know, having that compassion and understanding that that's new to her. So she didn't mean any offense to me by that, because she just doesn't know, and she was just really amazed, you know. So it's just like those kind of experience that I really see how like my identity plays out in different contexts and different spaces, you know. Definitely something. I was also a Latin American Caribbean studies major, sociology minor, so I'm always fascinated with all this kind of stuff and history that we're not really told sometimes, unless you went to college, unless you wanted to dig this information out for yourself, you know.
And like you say earlier, even the house where you live, the owner of the house, she assumed that all Americans were white and blonde hair. So when she saw you, she was shocked.
Yeah. And that was during the time where Obama was our president. So I was like, "Don't you see my president's black girl?"
Yes. So Namar says the New Year's Eve event you went to, where you were all white. What is it called? Where did that take place, and how did you become part of it?
So it's just an event that happens during New Year. So it's not like a marked calendar. It's kind of like in New York City where we dropped the ball on 42nd. So you go by the beaches that are like that strip, like I said, in Copacabana, Leblon. So it's that whole strip, and it's happening along the whole strip. But I went to the area where it was in Ipanema. And it's basically to just go on the 31st, right, before it strikes midnight, and you welcome. We bring flowers. People bring white flowers. People dressed in white, and you welcome there's fireworks, and that's how people welcome the new year.
Oh, wow, that is beautiful.
Yeah, it is really beautiful.
All right. If you guys don't have any more questions, any more last minute questions?
Thank you, guys. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much for saying yes, for being here with us, sharing all of this wealth of information about Brazil and your experience there. Yes.
Thank you.
Just one more thing before we leave. Tomorrow we have another episode. We're going to have Evangelis, Latina Explorer. She's going to be with us at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And she's going to present about Russia, the other red, white, and blue. So if you're interested in going to Russia, I went to Russia and loved it, by the way. So I have a story to tell about that too. It's so beautiful. But cold. So
yeah, you guys, this is my friend Vanessa. If any of you guys want to share your stories, your experiences in Latin America, she's, hit her up. She's awesome.
Yes, I will feature anyone who wants to share their story, because that's what we're here to learn from each other and, see how we can make Latinos travel more and experience our own culture.
Yes, definitely.
Sometimes it's really rare to see, for example, a Colombian going to Argentina or a Dominican going to Puerto Rico. Why is that? So how can we explore our own and support each other?
Right, definitely.
Right? With the tools that we have, this medium right here.
This is going to be our new world, it looks like, for some time. So.
Everything virtual, right?
We have to get acclimated to this new reality and make it the best.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Glomery, for being here.
Bye.
Have a beautiful day, guys. Hasta mañana.
See you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.